chickens. I am so excited to see you again, and today we are talking about the last 2 episodes of Uncanny Counter. Guys, I'm so happy. This is such a fun time, watching series with you guys. This is the second series that I have finished. Last series we watched was Do Do So So La La So, and this is the second one I've watched all the way through. Tell me what you guys thought of the last 2 episodes. Okay, so oh my goodness, I don't know if this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I thought that the last 2 episodes of Uncanny Counter were kind of a letdown. They were a letdown for me, and I was really surprised about it because I've had so much fun all the way through this drama. But let's get into it. I'm going to give you a very, very broad recap, okay? So last time we left off, Moon was fighting the evil spirit Chi Chung-shin, who's now moved to the mayor's body, okay? They're fighting, and you really think that Moon is about to bust out some extra stuff, because he's floating pebbles, he has his own psychokinesis now. I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do. Turns out it's not really much, honestly. I guess that show of being able to get his psychokinesis powers was just to show us that he's developing, because he was still kind of going, punch for punch with the evil spirit. Meanwhile, the crazy lady, she broke one of their staffs, so their whole plan has just kind of gone out the window. And in this battle, Mrs. Chu gets injured, and it's really frustrating because it seems like they target her every time they go into a battle. They know who they should target first because obviously she's their healer and she is the most important. So that kind of gets into what I'm going to talk about later, but let's keep going on. So Mrs. Chu, she gets hurt and they decide to call in a counter from a different country. There's a counter in Singapore that they call in to heal Mrs. Chu. And that is when I'm like, are you serious? There were other counters this whole time. I think I even mentioned it last episode. I was like, why aren't they calling other counters? They can't be the only counters in the world. This makes no sense, right? So they have this new counter and he's come to heal Mrs. Chu. And the new counter actually reveals that Mrs. Chu is sick. And we never hear about that again. Anyway, he reveals that she's sick and he decides to go on the mission in her place. So they leave Mrs. Chu back at the restaurant while they go and they attack Chi Chung-shin, at the mayor's house because he's in the mayor's body. Meanwhile, they take in the mayor's son because they think that the mayor's son was coming to seek them out and give them information, and they want to protect him because they're nice people. I really don't understand why they took the mayor's son to their secret lair. That don't make no sense. So what ends up happening is they go and they attack Chi Chung-shin in the mayor's home, and they find out that Chi Chung-shin is not there. The mayor's body is there, but the dark evil spirit is not there. And that's because he's jumped into the body of his son. So guess who is now alone with the evil spirit? That's right, Mrs. Chu again. And honestly, it's crazy. And the end result of this battle is that the new counter ends up dying. And it's a really sad moment because, although the counter appears lazy on the surface, you know that he's really not. And he's a good guy, a hardworking guy, and you're just really sad about the whole thing. And the most upsetting thing about all of it is that you think that the heavenly spirit who's inhabiting the counter is just gonna disappear. He's asking what happens after heaven, and he's fading away, and you're like, oh no, this is a bad situation, right? But what ends up happening is the counter dies, the human man who was being the host for the heavenly spirit dies. And then, surprisingly, crazily, the heavenly spirit flies out of this guy's body and he enters So-mun. So then we find out that So-mun is able to hold more than one heavenly spirit in his body at a time. This is crazy sauce. In fact, this is when we find out that the whole time, the reason why So-mun's been able to do all these special things and, he has all these extra powers, he seems to be able to do more than everybody else, is because he's actually a bridge between the spirit world and Earth. So that is some really cool stuff. Okay, so this is where I get into a main problem with this series. For me, it really became apparent in these last 2 episodes. Whenever this counter team goes into battle, they have no strategy. And after a point, it becomes really frustrating. I'm talking about when they were going to attack Ji Jung-shin in his home, they show up and they just fight. Every single time they show up and they just fight. And they don't have anything like, oh, maybe before he comes back to his body, we'll stab him in the foot. Or maybe we'll call in some more counters. Or maybe we'll hide Mrs. Chu somewhere else because he knows always to pick her out first. And the thing, it was really frustrating because my sister and I were sitting there and coming up with about 10 different strategies and formulas that they could have used that they never did. And it just became, lazy at a point. All they did was show up and fight. And the thing was that the evil spirit always had something up his sleeve. He was crafty. And it made it really unfulfilling because within the first 20 minutes of the last episode, they wrapped up this battle with the evil spirit. And it's they had done so well with pacing throughout the entire drama. But in terms of this last battle, and in terms of them entering into fights with people, period, it was just a real letdown because I have to be honest, I didn't believe that they would have actually won. My sister absolutely wasn't convinced, and I said, well, I knew that they would win because, it's a TV show and the good guy can't lose. But come on. I feel it's supposed to be believable. You're supposed to convince me. And it's because they never had any strategy. They always just show up and they hope things are gonna work out. And it's kind of crazy. And like I said, the evil spirit has always got something up his sleeve. So in the last battle, he had already kidnapped Somun's grandparents. So when he was getting ready to exorcise the evil spirit out of the mayor's body, he could threaten them. And then right before he was about to be exorcised again, he turned his face into Somun's mother. He was just much more crafty than this team. And it was kind of sad to see it. Yeah, what did you guys think about it? So again, they wrapped up the final battle with the evil spirit in the first 20 minutes of the last episode. And then throughout the last episode, they were tying up a bunch of loose ends, frankly, I didn't really care about. My biggest question, which was, what is happening with Mrs. Chu? Is she sick? What's going on with her? They never answered. So much to the point where I was if they spend 5 minutes on Mrs. Chu at the end, I'm going to be so upset. But instead, they just never addressed it at all, which I guess is it wasn't as frustrating because right after that, I went and Googled and I see that Uncanny Counter has been renewed for a 2nd season. And that honestly made me so happy because for most of the time, I had such a great time watching this drama. I wouldn't hesitate to watch the 2nd season of it. But I was wow, I really feel like the writers didn't stick the landing on this. And I was also reading that the script writer left this drama after episode 13. And honestly, for me, it really shows. So I don't know, what did you guys think about it? I mean, that's just my opinion. This is such a great drama, and I think I would recommend it to people just getting into Korean dramas, especially because it's action-based, it has great pacing, has a little bit of romance, but it was kind of a letdown for me, the ending there. In fact, I would probably tell people, they win, just skip the last 2 episodes. You know what I'm saying? So let me get into my final rating for this drama. I have come up with my own rating system. I also used it in Dodo Soso Lalaso. Okay, here's how it goes. A 5 or less drama means that don't watch that drama. It's not worth your time at all. Every point after that, I give for these attributes. I give 1 point for pace, 1 point for addictiveness, 1 point for memorability, 1 point for character development, and 1 point for plot. So let's talk about pace. This is something that this drama did so well. It was engaging, except for those last 2 episodes, man, just on the pacing. They always kept me engaged. When I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't watch this drama anymore, I was in it again, every week, because, I much prefer to binge things. This whole week by week kind of annoys me sometimes, but they really kept me engaged. So definitely gets the point for pace. Addictiveness. I definitely think it gets the point for addictiveness because even my dad was coming to me every week and he's like, are we going to watch Uncanny Counter this week? So I definitely think it was addictive and, really engaging for people. In terms of memorability, like before these last 2 episodes, I actually really would have watched it again. I would wait 3 years and maybe I would watch Uncanny Counter again. And like I said, I would also recommend it to people. So I'll give it the point for memorability. Character development. Considering the type of drama that it was, I think I'll give it the character development point. I mean, it wasn't solely about character development in this drama. It was more of like an action, fun, family-based drama. And I really feel like Soman had the most character development, but I'm still gonna give him the point considering the type of drama that it was. Now here is where we come to the plot, okay? The plot, I am going to give a 0.5. And like I said, I was so ready. Like if you had watched me all the way, if you've watched all the Uncanny Counter videos, if you've been watching along, I was so ready to give this drama a 10 out of 10. But because of them never having strategy, like every episode, it was getting so frustrating to me. I'm actually gonna take half a point away from plot. So I'm gonna say that this drama is a 9.5. I would still recommend it to people, but honestly, I would just tell them to skip the last 2 episodes. And that's that in my opinion. So our final score is a 9.5. And even though they did not stick the landing, I can't wait for season 2. That's me. Tell me what your guys' favorite moments, if you had any, or if you agree with me, if you just were not thrilled with these last 2 episodes. Let me know. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you would have given Uncanny Counter, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh my goodness! No, I forgot to tell you, I'm thinking of switching formats on this video. So if you actually have been watching week to week, and I honestly don't know who has, but if you've been watching week to week, I'm thinking of switching more to a reaction format instead of a recap format. So it would be really useful if you are watching week to week and you enjoy the recap and you say, hey, I still want you to recap, or you say, oh no, I don't want you to recap. I'm just really watching for a reaction so we can react together. That is good stuff to know. So let me know. And I haven't decided what drama I'm gonna watch next. I have to check what's coming up in February. I'm so happy that they consistently put Korean dramas on Netflix now. And I'm so happy to have had this journey with you guys. So, Annyeong chickens, love you and see you next time. Bye! In the morning, in the evening, or sometime in between, I hope that you will see some Lexi on your screen. Subscribe.
How does perfection feel, darling?